So in the previous video, we set up the rope, we set up some constraints to the wall, we got a nice little sim going. Uh, so in this one, we're gonna just connect the flags to it and do some changes. Let me just turn off my rotate. I did some cleanup in the break, so I just renamed my dynamic constraint to rope geo DCST for dynamic constraint. Again, name it whatever you want. It's up to you. Just keep it clean and tidy. So if you ever need to come back, you could find your fine things. So here we go. I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did before. Is choose my connection points and my connected object. Go to constraint and points to surface. See, it's created a dynamic constraint here. I'm just gonna rewind. I'm gonna press play. And actually in this case I'm just going to leave the constraint as is. I'm not going to go into the little details. I think it's enough. What I am going to do is work a bit on the behavior of the rope and my lovely little flags here. So firstly, as you can see, by default we're getting nice little, let me just focus in here, you're getting nice little bounce, but there's not really much um, good behavior in the cloth. So let's do just some quick cloth cleanup and setup. So firstly, let's just use silk as a good basis. So as you can see, it's a lot lighter, so it's not going to be as heavy. No, I probably won't have to do much on this. I think I'll just leave it by the default. There's no real reason for me to do any more than this. I did notice when I got close that this is jiggling really badly. So let's just go and have a look at my quality settings. So under my nCloth shape, so it'll be nCloth, if you don't name it, it will be just nCloth shape, but here is, the full name. So I'm going to go under quality. Where's my quality settings? And what I'm going to do is maximum of collision interactions is, I just put 32. It's just a good number. 32, 16, 32, 64, and so on and going up. Just just better calculate. It's just better groups to do. Collision list threshold basically will calculate the collisions slightly better, and I think this should be enough. Let's have a look. If it's still jiggling, which it is, then the problem's not here. The problem's in the nucleus. So let's choose the nucleus, and I found the problem. As you can see, the sub-steps and the maximum collision items interpolations are very low. So basically, this is something that is in the white paper that came out for N dynamics, and I couldn't find it anywhere else. Basically, just do multiplications of this number, and you will never go wrong. So in this case, I'm just going to go 12 and 16. I just find this is a good default starting point. So if I do that, you will see that this should behave slightly better. I still see some weird behavior there. It could be to do with the, just put exclude collisions and see if that helps. Yeah, I think that helped. It's a little bit bouncy there. Let's just push these up full so they're nice and strong. So actually, let's go 0.5 and then 0.2. There we go. Okay, so the reason it was behaving the way it was behaving is that the constraints themselves, as you can see, can rotate and move. And because they were so rigid, they were fighting basically the behavior. So in this case, it kind of knocked down the strength so it wouldn't be as rigid. What I can do now is maybe also cut down the distance so we get something a little more like this. So there you go. So that's now more cloth-like. So by the way, the cloth itself behaves this way. It's got like little particles and it's connected throughout. So yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, I think we are done setting up our cloth. The next step is setting up um, our fluid dynamic. And even though it's 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, um, after I'm done going through what we worked on, I think I'll stop the video and we'll start a brand new one that's got fluids in it. So let's do that quickly. Let me just go quick through. So what we did was we connected this lovely flags to the rope, and then basically had this set it to silk, which is the closest, and then we saw like there was kind of weird movement, so we would try to figure out what was causing it. So at first I started off with the cloth itself, and I went to the quality settings and made sure that my collisions and collision lists were high enough. Um, and then what I did was changed um, the sub steps in nucleus, so we get a much more accurate account of calculation of how the nucleus works. And then at the end, we went to the constraint itself and changed the behavior and the strength of the way, the stiffness basically of the constraint. So that sums it up. So in the next movie, we will add some fluids. So let's see you then.